Hi, Vivek. Thank you so much for coming to the Mentor Talk. How's it going?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Before we start with the Mentor Talk is sponsored by EquityMatch.co, our own platform, and only one educational fundraising and networking platform dedicated to founders worldwide. Uh, why we do Mentor Talk? We do Mentor Talk for supportive founder, giving them the tools to understand how actually in a very early stage, especially startups must move in order to having things done and don't fail. Now, before we start, would you like to give an introduction to yourself?
Yes, so I'm a VC investing in deep tech in the North America and Europe, as well as I'm a startup mentor, having mentored more than 1,000 startups. So it's sector agnostic mentorship, more like a pre-stage before you get into a deep mentorship, like the strategy, vision, direction, is it the right thing to do, etc., etc. Yeah, so I mentor startups from all over the world, so and help them to find the right direction and guide them from time to time, hand holding. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, founders will love your experience. Let me start with skills, all right? So we talk, you have a vast experience in startup. Uh, which kind, which set of skills founders has to possess in order to proceed correctly, especially when it comes to the first stage where maybe there are two, three people working night and day with a lot of experience, especially when it comes to tech startup in technology, but a little in management. So where do you see the best skills to be developing? Because sometimes you can develop skills, right? You don't need just be having them donated by not mother nature. Which kind of skill startups must possess for you? I mean, founders.
Persistence is an important skill, resilience, because a startup journey is not so easy, even for experienced people with like 20, 30, 40 years of experience, where in the corporate world still there are a lot of ups and downs. Things don't go your way many times. So resilience, persistence is one of the most important skill, I would say. Then the second is social skill is extremely important. You know, you could be technically very, very good and have the most brilliant solution, but if you're not having the social skills of interacting, then you will not know how to present what you have built. That is the second skill, which includes also networking. Networking is a very important part, I would say. They have to network a lot, meet the right people. As they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So
I totally agree with you. Social skills are very important and resilience is mandatory when you have up and down 10 times in the same day. There are days where you do pretty well, days that you don't even want to wake up. You get just too tough. But I've been speaking to many founders, and they say we love networking, but many times we find it not only stressful but useless because we don't find the right people, right? So, what do you think must be the approach for founders when they network? Because you can network every day today, everywhere. There are so many meeting, meetup, whatever they are.
what I have observed is, I have seen so many founders, and I've also been to forums and networking events. Typically, founders are present in those events, but they are not making an effort actually. That happens, I see. Like, okay, if I'm there in an event and they know I'm a VC or investor, I think it makes sense for them to come to me and talk and, have my perspective and, advice. or people like me or experienced people who could guide them. You don't know how it will turn out. Finally, maybe the person you talk to may introduce you to somebody who would eventually invest in your startup. So, so one is, I would say, go make an effort. Don't think it is waste, because it's nothing is waste, because the person you meet could introduce you to somebody who could either help you with the co-founder, or help you with some technical expert, or help you with somebody who is likely to. They should not think it's a waste. However, it has to be more focused. I would say, like before going to the event, it's good to know who's coming, understand who's coming, plan an agenda, and try to meet those people. I think that works well. And LinkedIn always is a very good place to network.
When, when it comes to okay networking, that's okay. The social part will be funded, especially when it comes at the very beginning when you need too much from mentoring to advising to money. You really need a lot to move, especially when you are not the second time or 35 founder. On this side, have you mentored, invested both, I believe, so which means first time, second time founder, and also founders that already failed? Do you think there is a difference between? I believe there is. Do you think there is a difference between these profiles, and where do you find yourself more comfortable?
It's not so straightforward, in my opinion, because there is a startup on one side, but then there is the life of the individual on the other side. These things are going in parallel. So there are so many things happening in the life of the person, and there are different phases of life, which obviously also have an impact on the health and mental being of the founder. So let's say a startup founder was successful with his first startup. It's not necessary, in my opinion, he's successful with a second or third startup. Because, yeah, that's another important skill, which coming back to your first question, you have to be, really fit mentally, physically. That is very important. I mean, health is the most important thing. You need the energy. Yes, energy is the most important thing which founders have to conserve. So I have seen founders where they have done two successful startups, let's say, or first one was successful, second was a failure, and then now they are doing the third. So we can't draw parallels saying, we can't really say that if the person is successful two times, he will be successful the third time, because there are different variables at that point in time which could influence his decisions. So but of course, the chances of him succeeding is higher because he's learned a lot of lessons, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee a success.
I agree. I mean, but for example, when I talk to investors, they tell me, when I interview them as well, they tell me we actually love when we have founders failing already. We did already one startup and hopefully failed, because at least they learn the hard way how things work. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't mean because this guy failed one, they're going to succeed the second one, or vice versa. It doesn't mean because they succeeded the first one, they will be. It will be the same for the second one. That's the tricky way to invest in startup, which is, I believe, the most difficult way to deploy money. But all funders, as you said before, I mean, it depends where you are in your life, uh, of course, and what you learned previously. Uh, Funders, I believe they must set goals, right? Short term and long term goals. Uh, what's the role of the mentor here? More broadly, how do you see the mentor playing in the with funders when they mentor them?
When I talk to most of the startups, I would say, um, especially first-time founders, they may be very sure of what they're doing, but then there is a lack of focus, I would say. Let's say in terms of because they are many of them are excited. I don't say everyone is like that, but sometimes they are very excited and they know they think they would like to, let's say, conquer the world. In the, I want to launch in Africa and Asia and the US. And I've seen this with scale ups as well, who are like 5, 6, 10 years doing the business. But when they talk to me and they say, "Hey, I want to," yeah, we are targeting now in this 1 year all the regions. For me, like, guys, you need to focus. So the focus, you conquer one market, move to one other market. Or if you have one solution, make that work well before adding,
Yeah.
other features. Make one thing work well in one market before you add anything else, features or territories. The mentor plays an important role, I would say. It's the most important role, I would say. Anyone who doesn't have a mentor, I advise them to seriously have a mentor. Because we may be the most intelligent, the brainiest, and most experienced. Everyone needs a mentor. You think of a sportsman, even the best sportsman needs a coach,
Yeah.
right? They have their issues. So you need a coach to give you a balanced opinion. Think of a
That's right.
mentor coach who will ground you because he's not emotionally involved in your journey. His decisions are balanced and thought out compared to yours. You have a lot going in your mind as a startup founder.
I think also seeing things from outside is different from see things when you're fully immersed, and many mistakes can be avoided because they've already been done by the many. So mentors can really drive you to the right way, guiding you. Don't do what has been already done and never worked. So maybe it's not going to work for you as well. But what I mean, which are the most common mistakes you've seen so far in startups fund? Very common that almost all of them they make.
So one is not having a roadmap is one thing. With the milestones, as you said, you need to have a short-term goals and medium-term and long-term goals. That's very important because you can't build everything you want because everything is linked to resources, not just financial resources, but also the energy, which I very, very seriously believe in. You can't drain your energy. So it's important. So one is not having clear goals. Second is not having a co-founder. If you don't have a co-founder, I would say uh, look for a co-founder, talk to your network, see if you can get a co-founder. Uh, Third is being in a hurry to launch something. Don't think that if you don't launch now or in 6 months or 1 year that you're going to lose the market. The pie is big. Everyone can get a share of the pie. It's not that if you don't launch in 1 year that you can't launch. So take your time, do thorough research, have a validation of your product first, with the experts in your network, will before you even I would say identify a mentor and talk to the mentor. He will guide you. So
Let me stay on the time to market. There are different philosophy here. I mean, don't bother yourself to have the perfect product. Go to market, right? And the market will tell you if it's wrong or right. Others, they maybe wait more time and having something that really works. But when you go to the market, maybe it's not needed. What's your advice here? Should you spend a year to develop your MVP, or maybe 3 months, go to the market and stop keep developing me while you get the feedbacks?
I say keep a 3 month MVP target, definitely. Don't make it a 1 year, but 3 months, but maybe you'll end up 5 months. But you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be perfect. At the same time, you don't have to. What I mean is, don't be in a hurry to launch the product. Is don't launch something which doesn't solve what it's supposed to solve. I mean, have at least 80% of your product ready and make sure it's the right product. I mean, 90% of startups fail. So the validation, I mean, with the mentor is very important before you even spend time on your MVP or anything. Because if you're doing the wrong thing, I mean, yeah, it must be a fantastic product, but nobody wants it, right? Nobody um, is willing to pay. So I mean, again, the perspective changes based on whether it's B2B, B2C, B2G, whatever. So you can't have a failing product with B2B, but then you can launch. You can. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect because then you can work it out with the organization. But in a B2C, if you have a wrong something which is fundamentally not working, then like Gemini, Google launched Bard, and then Bard was then they reworked it and they brought Gemini. Now everyone uses it. But okay, they are able to manage it, big companies, but small companies can't.
I mean, when I talk to founders, I see the go-to-market as a problem, of course, but I see also the lack of skills to manage cash flow. I believe, I believe, I think it's the case that all companies, startups, scale-ups, well-established SMEs, big companies, you die on cash flow, not on revenue. You die on cash flow because you can't make payments. Now, when they plan, when early stage startup in the first place, they raise money, they don't have a clear idea actually how runway works. So maybe they believe they can run for 12 months, but they have no idea how much more they need to spend for marketing, for example. As you said, if the product is wrong, you have another problem, pivoting. Without cash, you can't pivot, you're dead. So how do you see this working?
That is a very important skill to manage the cash flow because that is like oxygen for the business. It's no cash. I mean, that's it. You can't do anything, right? You can bootstrap, do whatever, but once it runs out, that's it. Financial skills like cash management skills, either they have to pick it up or they have to outsource it. Yeah, better to find a good outsourcing partner, I would say, because learning everything, yeah, is very difficult. Um, so you have to be on top of your finances, and that has to be tied to your milestones, like your roadmap, and you have to be strict with that. On what you're launching in first phase, and you have to make sure that the cash flow is spent just for that. And it's not that, hey, let's add this feature, that feature will be good, and then you'll burn the money and you won't have maybe money to do your marketing.
You're right. It's very easy to finish off the money if you are not meticulously managing any single penny you have it. You are an investor as well. Uh, you, it's your suggested to founders. Maybe you. I mean, you already said before. Should founder go alone? Would you suggest to founder? okay, you can manage, go alone, solo founder, or maybe it's better if you bring one, two guys with you. So at least you cover all the basic skills you need to start with.
Indeed, indeed. I have seen solo founders as well, but I just question myself, okay, how long will you go? How far will you go? Yeah, because yeah, I mean, they may have cash, but they may get burnt out.
Of
So
course.
one person can't do everything, right? So you have to find a founder with complementary skills, right? So if you're good technically, you need somebody having good marketing skills, for example, depending on whether, again, if it's B2B, whatever. So make sure you have a co-founder who has complementary skills. But first, you need to know what kind of skills you need in your co-founder. It should not be that you have find a co-founder who's just like you, a copy of you, who's a very, very, very good technically, but you're not going to go very far. You'll create something really very good, but you don't know how to then uh, go to market with that.
Do you, I mean, as a mentor, right? Mentor can be also coaching, even advising. But do you think mentors should help founders also to avoid burnout, to avoid, to manage the time, to manage your capacity to run the company? Because many founders, they push very hard at the beginning. They don't get any result because that's the reality. The first 12 months is very rarely that you got some very decent traction, and they get depressed and you just burn out, and then the day you close it. And it happened to some founders invested in. They started very well, and they just burn out. It was game over. No way to recover.
Yes, yes. So as a mentor, I not only look at their what they're building, but also I try to check their energy levels when they are talking to me. If I see there's a difference, then I say, hey, what's going on? You don't seem okay.
Yeah.
Is there something you want to discuss? And and then I try to guide them with some counselor or somebody like that because it's important. Have some counseling, you know, a counselor who will guide them on those specific, psychological aspects. Because a founder is dealing with so many things, and he's also running his family and business. And sometimes there are both husband and wife or partners in the same business, which is not recommended according to me. But yeah, because then yeah, both could get burnt out. So I keep tabs on what's happening and then try to guide them, show them the right direction. Yeah.
I think founders should know what to ask. You know your strength, you know your weaknesses, you know what your daily routine is. So what kind of questions should the founder ask a mentor, making sure that when he's using his time, you don't have the mentor any single day. We do. So you have mentor for a few hours probably per week or per month. So using that hours the best possible way, how should be conducted this? I mean, if I'm coming to you, you're mentoring my startup, and maybe we had 2 meetings per month, what I should ask you to make sure that I'm using this time in the right way?
So first thing, I want the startup founder to talk about his business and pitch me what they are building. So that will give me a good assessment of the whole picture, what's going on, you know, and then I will actually drive the questions towards the founder. They didn't think too much in the initial meetings. I will ask them questions which will get them thinking and talking. That's the approach I follow. And then as we go along and they are, on track, then they will themselves come up with questions. Then they will figure out. Uh, Initially, it's more my role, I think, to get them to talk and to get them to think whether they're doing the right thing, whether their approach is right, what is the strategy, what is the roadmap, etc., etc. How does the team look, uh, etc. And to monitor, have a checkpoint every now and then. Let's say, however, let's say typically once a month or initially maybe twice a month, whatever they want. Um, yeah.
In your talk with founders, I'm pretty confident you already, I mean, this happened to you. How complicated is for a mentor to make a founder's understanding that the product is not there, or maybe the business model is not there? You must pivot in somehow. And sometimes you must drastically pivot, which means you need to change completely everything, not really starting from scratch, but probably yes. Founders, for what I can see, many of them they perceive as a pure failure, absolutely failure, pivoting, but actually it's not a failure at all. I mean, you tested, you see that things are not going the right way. So when founders should push up to what extent, and the day where you say, okay, guys, it's not working, stop pushing. It's good to push, but until a certain extent, you have to need to stop. I need to pivot. How difficult is this for a mentor?
See, the most important quality of a startup founder is their adaptability, right? If they are rigid, right, then I would say that, okay, it's difficult for you to succeed because startup game is always about adjusting, adapting, and pivoting. Yeah, you will pivot a lot. So if they need to be open to feedback. Uh, for me as a mentor, I'm not with them. I'm just guide them. Right. It is for them to take the inputs and think about it and come back to me with questions. Right. So if they are rigid, then okay, then it's their journey. I mean, they will learn it the hard way, unfortunately. So that's my take on it.
Do they listen to you? You say they must be, I mean, they must be able to adapt themselves. At the same time, many founders are stubborn like hell. They are very big headed. That's fine. You must be somehow. You can't be an entrepreneur if you're not. 100% believe in yourself. But at the same time, you must listen to people who know at the beginning more than you. So I don't think mentors must tell how to run the company because that belongs to the founders, how to develop the idea because the idea belongs to them. But of course, they can advising them what actually can work and can't work. Uh, have you, in your experience, how many founders? I mean, it's common having founders that actually listen to you, put in practice, or they just listen and they forget after the call is closed.
Well, I make sure there are minutes so that I can keep tabs on what's happening. So the uh, yeah, I mean the early ones they listen. If they are too advanced in their product, then I think they are more rigid. The ones who are just starting out or in the MVP phase or have the MVP or whatever like that, they are more open. Um, yeah, as they are too far in their journey, then it's yeah, they believe in what they think. I guess they think they are doing the right thing. Um, yes, that's a danger because yes, why do so many startups fail? That's one
Yeah.
of the reasons, right? So Uh, you're not, you know, I mean, I don't say the mentor is, always 100% right. Okay, but the mentor is in a position to guide you. It's for you to do the research and come back with questions. And if you are not agreeing, to come back with your counter arguments. So then there's a good brainstorming, healthy brainstorming session. And then at the end, there has to be some conclusion there.
Do you think startups they fail because, for example, the product? I believe they fail because they don't execute the right way. But at the same time, do you think the major failure is done by because there is no market at all for the product you are building? There is no problem to solve.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. If you think you have a product, you are providing some solution. There are already so many solutions or products out there which are very similar. Uh, but then again, you need to see uh, it could be similar, but I mean, you have to do something which is, providing a value add to the customer. So you need to identify what is not there in those products, provide a value add which is a kind of a game changer. Try to identify game changers uh, in just in your product. Um, yeah, I mean one of the primary reasons startups fail is there are no customers, no paying customers.
There is no market. There is not people are not willing to pay. But that's a very good one. People they don't pay. So, in your opinion, there is any best practice to find the market fit without destroying all your cash flow? And what about the pricing? I see founders pricing very low because the underlying concept is okay, I want to take market share, so I prefer pricing very low or give it for free. And when I have enough market share, I start pricing. But maybe people they start using your service for free, and they're not willing to use pay anymore. Nobody will pay what's up because it's been for free forever. So where do you see this? I mean, what can be a good practice to find market fit and pricing?
I would say how to price your product. Maybe you can have a free trial, whatever. Okay, because uh, free many times means zero value. There are millions of apps out there, right? If you're charging, that means there is some value for it. And make sure you're giving more value than what you're charging for. Let's say if you're doing a SaaS model and you're charging 10 euros a month, make sure you give 20 euros worth.
Yeah.
So, you have to exceed the customer's expectations in what you're giving. You promise three things, give him 10 things and see how delighted he'll be. But if you promise 10 things and give him three things, then you'll see, the outcome very soon.
I mean, that's right. Market fit is very, very complicated. Getting traction at the very beginning is a nightmare. Maybe, as you said, you promise too much, you deliver too little, and maybe you ask even too much. At the same time, if you ask nothing and people take your service for free, after you start asking money, it's not that simple. Whatever value you're bringing, you get the same value for free before. So it's not that simple to say, okay, now I need to upgrade only because I need cash. Otherwise, we close. Uh, why did you decide to be a mentor? And do you think mentors and investors, when they are two different persons, because sometimes an investor can be a mentor as well, they should talk to each other?
Yeah, yeah, indeed. But pure investors think differently compared to mentor investors. They
Yeah.
have a different. So, yeah, I encourage them to talk to each other.
You are both. So when you talk to founders, with the hat of an investor and after as a mentor. Where do you see the biggest difference? Because investors maybe are more focused on return, meanwhile mentors have a different approach.
Yeah, it gives me different insights, interesting insights when I talk as a mentor, which I wouldn't get as a pure investor, because then I can go behind the scenes as well to
Yeah.
the real story. Uh, because in due diligence, you will have only part of the story as an investor. But then as a mentor, I get a full picture, and also it's more convincing for me to take an investment decision being a mentor first.
If you have any, what has been one of your best advice to founders as a mentor to help them to move forward?
Have a mentor. Yeah. Um, make sure there are people willing to pay for your product. Period. No money, no business. That's it. Yeah.
Do you believe any founder should have a mentor?
Every founder should have a mentor, irrespective of the stage, I would say. As I said, there's a 10-year-old scale up or 15-year-old scale up who I talk to, and they are so rigid in their thinking. So, guys, I would say manage your egos, right? When the money starts flowing in, don't start flying. You have to be grounded in throughout your journey, because it doesn't take much time to, crash. It doesn't take much time. So the more grounded you are, the more better position you are in to take care of all the challenges that come your way. Uh, you know,
One more things that very much matters me because it happened to me when I was young. How do you understand that you have a right mentor? Because sometimes mentors can destroy you.
yeah, indeed. So have a mentor who has the experience, who has a good reputation, um, who has a good network, and yeah, you will know whether you're getting the right advice. You're smart, right? As a founder, you will know if the mentor is right or not in one conversation. So it's not that the founders, yeah, they are smart guys, so they will know. But yeah, indeed. So, make sure the person has the right experience, uh, um, you know, and exposure to be able to mentor you.
In Equity Match, we have a lot of mentors already. You are part of our network. Very much thank you for joining us. Uh, where founders should find network aside our platform? Do you think they should meet them in these events? Where do you get in touch with them?
Yeah, always look out for events. Always look out for events. Go. Don't think it's a waste of time, because it's important. You don't know who you will find there. If you're sitting in your garage and building, bootstrapping. No one will know you, right? I mean, you may do things in social media, but when you go out there and the person sees you, meets you, interacts with you, he really understands who you are. But don't ask for money when you see an investor. Talk about your product, talk about your solution, say what problem you're solving, say what's unique about your solution. You know, get him interested. So go to events, use LinkedIn, use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is powerful. Yeah, uh, do some kind of events yourself if you can do that. Have some coffee mornings where you invite people, Talk to them about your product. They could be from your network. You can just launch an event in Eventbrite, and it's a free event, get people there, you know, and for investors and founders or whatever.
Should be mentoring for free, get paid, get some share. How they will be me their contribution somehow they should get something back, right?
Yeah, so there are different ways of mentor charges. Uh, so one is for the time they spend, so they charge for the time they spend. That is one. The second way is they pick up an equity in the startup. So here, I mean, it's risky for them because they spend a lot of time, but 90-95% of startups fail. So they are giving advice and then they pick up equity, and then there could be a mixed model as well. So, yeah.
Vivek, thank you so much for coming to the Mentor Talk. It's been an absolute pleasure for me, and I really thank you for your great advices that am completely sure our founders will love and will put in place. Thank you.